So how you been then? You taking the week off?
Yeah, I'm alright, mate. I fucking feel sick as a dog. I fucking hate losing.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah. Go on,
yeah,
sorry.
it was gonna happen eventually. So take it on the chin like a man, innit?
Yeah, you enjoying some good food again now? What's your weight cut like normally?
It's all right. It's not the worst cut in the world. I start camp somewhere around like 165. So it's about 20 pounds in from the start, but I don't have to lose too much just because I'm always relatively in shape.
Yeah,
But it's one of them. I'm not going to be enjoying food now until I win again. So
I thought maybe you were treating
yeah,
yourself afterwards.
no, mate, I don't deserve it. When I win, it goes off.
Sound like you're being quite hard on yourself.
Oh, mate, it's the first time I lost, so it's it's probably the worst now because it's the first time it's happened. But nah, I don't like losing.
Yeah, you've been straight back in the gym then, or are you taking a little bit of time out?
Yeah, the coaches won't let me do any contact for a couple of weeks. But I trained on Thursday on Friday after the fight on Thursday. Um, like nothing nuts, just something to keep me sane.
Yeah. So obviously, has your mindset changed at all after the fight? Obviously, being your first defeat in your career, or is it just wanting to get
No,
straight back into it?
no, straight back into it. Like that would be like whether I win or lose, take 1 or 2 days and then straight back in the gym. So it just so happens that this time I lost, but everything got to stays exactly the same. You know, it's like some people lose and they start questioning everything before you know it. They're on about blaming this weight cut, blaming that, blaming the training preparation, blaming this, blaming that. And there's none of that for me. Like the preparation was good. I trained really hard, like I always do. The weight cut was manageable, like it always is. It's never fun. Um, and yeah, I got clipped, and I gotta take ownership of it.
Yeah. Were you expecting Manny to pull guard how he did in the first round?
I was expecting him to pull guard, but I didn't expect him to pull guard like that.
Yeah.
Like I thought that um, he'd feel the wrestling dominance at some point, and then when he got desperate, looking for a way to win, that's when he'd start pulling guard, looking for flying triangles and whatever. I didn't expect him just to not entertain the wrestling exchanges at all, which is kind of weird because he initiated the wrestling. He shot on me,
Yeah.
um, but I caught his double underhooks, and I wasn't particularly planning on wrestling him early. I was gonna feed him out on the feet, and then before I knew it, he pulled guard.
Mm.
To be fair, it was arguably really clever from him because, like I think, in fairness to Dan Strauss, he said it like he didn't think he was going to win the wrestling exchanges. So rather than try and then potentially end up in bottom side control or wherever, he just completely didn't entertain it and pulled guard. And in fairness to him, he's got plenty of submission wins. He's got a dangerous guard. He didn't really come close to pulling anything off on me, but at the same time, like I could feel his hips moving. You could tell he knew exactly what he was doing down there. So it wasn't a bad tactic.
Yeah. Were you planning on him attacking like triangles and things from that position, arm bars,
Yeah,
from guard?
yeah. Like I say, he's just a typical active guard player. He's going to be looking for say triangles, arm bars. If at any point your head travels down his body, he looks a lot more. He transitions to front headlock stuff like guillotines and so on and so forth. So we were prepared for all of that. And in fairness, like Wayne Sandwich runs the jiu-jitsu at the Mat Academy, and the fact that he didn't even come close to subbing me is, a testament to the work he did. In all fairness to him, because he didn't come close, and it is one of his big weapons. We've seen him tap plenty of good guys.
Mm. You look like you're doing a great job at controlling the clinch, though, controlling it on the ground, in like with the wrestling, like you said.
Yeah, yeah. It's one of my strengths for sure. And I felt like he was working really hard to avoid me doing too much damage. Like say when we landed in guard, he had an overhook and wrist control, like looking for a triangle. But saying to keep his wizard stop me from getting my underhook free, he's got to hold on pretty tight. So I was just sort of letting him work, and the plan was to let him work for a few minutes, and then he'll tire himself out. And I think, the only person who really knows whether that happened or not is Manny. But I feel like when we did then split, his attitude was, I'm just going to launch something to try and change the trajectory of the fight. And then fair play to him. he's landed it clean as a whistle. That spinning hook was lovely, in all fairness to him, and it's literally written me off. I know I kept my feet, but yeah, the lights weren't on at all.
Mm. You sound like you've watched quite a few tapes of him before the fight. Is that something you normally do for all your opponents? Or?
Yeah, I don't like incessantly watch the guys I fight, but I'll watch probably all of their fights once or twice, get like a really good idea of how they move, what they like to do. And then once I've got that idea in my head, then it's done. Then I don't watch any more footage because, you know, I know what I'm prepared for.
Yeah. How are you training specifically for him then from that?
To be honest, we don't tend to train that much for specific opponents. Like we train for how am I going to be the dominant striker whilst there's a threat of a takedown. Wall wrestling with strikes, ground and pound with strikes, and then jiu-jitsu with strikes. And then before you know it, that's pretty much every area of an MMA fight. So we prepare for those three things primarily. And then wherever the fight takes place, we're good to go. I think the only thing that was specific about him was the fact that he likes to throw unorthodox kicks, his active guard, and his chokes. He likes to go guillotine, and he really goes deep with his guillotines. You know, like I think the Dana Hidesco, I call it like wrist deep, where he really drives his wrist all the way across the throat. And that was it. The rest of the preparation was just generic to anyone.
Mm. You wanted to get another fight again as soon as you can? I know, like, during your amateur career, you were pretty active, weren't you?
Yeah, mate. Yeah, it's one of them fighters fighting it. I know, like, plenty of guys have done well, picked up a loss, and then they're never seen or heard from again. So that's definitely not going to be me. I messaged Cage Warriors already, asking if I could get a rematch with Manny.
You're keen on a rematch then?
Oh, 100%. I want it back. I want it back bad. Yeah. So in fairness to him, though, there's nothing for him to gain from that. So Cage Warriors aren't that keen on it for that reason, which I can't knock anyone for that. That's fair enough. So I'm gonna have to take that on the chin. But yeah, I'll be there in June, fighting someone I don't know. When I win, I'm gonna call out Manny again. And in fairness to him, if he wins in June as well, he'll probably be, you know, going on to the next stage. So I'm gonna have to beat somebody else to potentially get another one, or maybe even another one after that. But eventually, fingers crossed, him and I will share the cage again, and hopefully I can get it back.
Yeah, keen on getting your revenge, like.
Oh man, I have to. Like,
yeah.
Some people can lose and just, you know, 2 minutes later they've forgot about it and they've let it go. It doesn't eat me up. It doesn't eat me up at all. Like, I gave absolutely everything I could in preparation. Like, not many people were involved in the training because of COVID and everything, but those who were know that I couldn't have trained any harder. And then even in the cage, when he's caught me with that kick, like I say, we've seen so many people just get knocked unconscious from spinning hook kicks. And although I didn't drop, I was about as close to being dropped as you can. And still, I'm staying on my feet. I'm not going down. So I couldn't have done any more. It just so happens that he's got the job done, and yeah, at some point I'm gonna have to try and get him back for it.
Yeah, it's not something you're gonna sit on. Then you just want to sort of move on from.
Yeah, it won't eat me up. Like, is what I mean. So I kind of went off track then. It won't eat me up. Like, you're not gonna see me struggling to sleep at night and all that type of stuff. But at the same time, it's always going to be somewhere in my mind that I'm going to have to, I can't let it go unanswered. Like, I'd rather lose 2-0 to him than I would not have a go at getting it back.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
You mentioned training during, like, COVID and that earlier. Has anything been different training during lockdown? Have you, like, enjoyed it more or less? I heard, like, I've been talking to some people who said they've, like, enjoyed it more, having like less distractions and stuff. Have you sort of found that?
Yeah, probably enjoyed it less. Like, I like having a load of bodies in the gym. Whereas this time around, it was just a small group of us. It was really good, like, in the sense of I had so much attention. But again, like, an MMA gym, ideally what you want is a mat full of people, and everybody just having a great time together. So I've definitely enjoyed it less, but it's not been too bad.
Yeah. Can you hear like more of your corner shouting at you during the fight with that many fans there?
Say it again.
Can you hear your corner shouting at you more like during the fights now?
Yeah, weirdly I could. I don't know whether it's because this fight, I took him down in my corner, whereas normally, because I tend to be putting on the pressure when I take people down, I push them backwards, so I'm in their corner.
That sounds like it'd be great having your wrestling coach right there telling you what to do and stuff.
Yeah, to be honest, it was good. Like, say on the ground, I could hear literally every word that Lou and Wayne were saying. Whereas, say, normally I can't. I don't know whether that's because I wasn't paying enough attention on the fight or what. I don't know. But yeah, I could hear them clearly this time. But then when I last fought with no crowd in December, I can't really remember hearing anything.
Yeah. That was the Crawford fight, weren't it?
Yeah.
I really like watching that. You look very intimidating. You what, sorry?
Oh man, everyone said that. It was a weird fight that was. Like I say, he ended up getting his knickers in a twist with me. But the only person who got hard done by in that scenario was me, because we were supposed to fight, I think,
what happened, like,
September.
What do you mean he got his knickers in a twist? What happened?
So what happened was we were supposed to fight, I think, in September. And then on fight week, when I'm traveling to Manchester, I've had a call going, yeah, basically Kingsley's not going. So I was like, what do you mean he's not going? Like, naturally assumed COVID. And then all we really found out was that it was nothing to do with COVID. And I still don't know the exact reason today. So obviously I was pissed off at him because, you know, he didn't send me a message apologizing, nothing. It wasn't even a reason. It was literally just, yeah, he's not going. So to do 3 months of training for something, to cut weight for that and then not fight, I was pretty upset with him. And then when December came around, then we fought. And before they announced the decisions, you know, I knew I'd won. I even, like, say, just was pretty much celebrating, but I offered to shake hands with him, like, as you do. And then he said no. So I was like, well,
yeah.
Like, what's the matter with you? Like, the only person who's been wronged out of the two of us is me, because you're the one who didn't show up for. I mean, I know I was talking to him a litlittle bit in the fight, but
you were like proper staring him down, weren't you, at your corner at the start of like each round, and that looking like proper intimidated.
Yeah, but I've always done that.
Yeah,
I've always done that. It's just one of them. Like, I don't. I know. Not everybody. The opposite. Hardly anybody does it. But like, you're locked in a cage. You're about to fight. I'm a bit like, well, where else am I going to look other than right at you?
Yeah.
But yeah, weirdly, I'm pretty much the only guy. Well, not the only guy. I think Jack Cartwright does it as well. I've seen a few others. It doesn't really mean anything. It's not like it's a stare out competition, but it's more of a case of like, I like to look someone, get like a gauge for their body type, how they're looking, and the fact that I don't really know where else to look.
And I thought it was like some strategy of like sort of, you know what I mean, like scaring them a little bit.
Oh yeah. Now some people say, and interestingly, I don't do it for that reason, and I never thought that it would intimidate anyone. But then a couple of guys that I fought and beat, they did actually say to me afterwards that they found it a bit intimidating. But I mean, some guys stare at me back, and I can't say I find that particularly intimidating either. It's just, okay, he's staring back at me, like, so what, isn't it?
Yeah, you're in there to fight anyway, so like.
Yeah, literally, yeah. That pretty much supersedes everything else. Doesn't matter where you look or what. But yeah, a lot of people do seem to like it.
Yeah. Have you ever had anyone before that sort of? Obviously, most people after a fight shake hands, say like "well fought" or whatever. Have you had anyone before that wouldn't be like that? Who would, like you say, like Crawford, sorry, who just wasn't having it?
Yeah, not at all. Literally, I've never had anyone not shake hands. That's like in all combat sports as well, just not MMA. So yeah, I just found it weird, and that's what started the argument. He didn't do that, so I told him he's a piece of shit. And then yeah, I don't think we're gonna be best friends now, whatever. But
no, well.
Screw it, it don't matter.
Yeah, as I really like watching your amateur career. Is there any highlights you took from that, perhaps like near the start, which sort of stood out for you?
So I think off the top of my head, there's probably three. So actually, I won 2 belts, one with Budo and one with Cage Warriors Wales. So they'd be 2, and then there was the third one would be on my third fight where there was a miscommunication around the weigh-ins. So we thought that it was going to be 70 kilograms same day weigh-in, but it was actually 70 kilograms day before weigh-in. So we've had a call on the Friday saying, where's Ben for the weigh-in? And the fight was in Liverpool and we're still in Wales. And they're like, what do you mean? So they said, look, it's not a massive issue. We'll do a video.
Were you on weight at that point?
Yeah. I was preparing for a same day weigh-in. So I was basically 70 kilos. I think I just had food. So I was like 71. And then obviously when we found out that it was day before weigh-in, we just thought, oh God, he's going to be at least 77, 78 by the time the fight comes around. They were like, well, are you still going to take the fight? And I was like, yeah, you're too right. I'm going to take the fight. So we went up to Liverpool. And then the next day, then obviously we fight. We get in the cage and I'm just so much smaller than him. A few people said who didn't know, they're like, oh yeah, he looked way bigger than you. I was like, yeah, it's because he was way bigger than me.
Yeah.
And in fairness, Jimmy Watt wasn't a bad fighter either. He had a very credentialed striking background. So he had a good first round. And then I implemented a wrestling heavy strategy then. And I won the next 2. So I won a unanimous decision. But just the fact that I was able to get it done, a weight class up against a good boy, that was, I think that my coach said, he was like, that's when we knew you were serious. Because up until that point, I hadn't really been tested at all.
Which fight was that? Sorry.
That was Conor Hughes. So I think I was 3-0 or 2-0 at that point.
Yeah. I think was he the Thai boxer you fought early?
Yeah,
I think he had a big Thai background, didn't he? Muay Thai
I think it was karate. I think it was.
All right. Yeah.
The commentators called it Thai, but I spoke to him really briefly after the fight, and I think he said that his family run a karate gym or something. But no, all credit to him. He was a really good striker, and it wasn't just karate. He had good boxing too.
Yeah.
But actually, I beat him pretty clearly. As my coach just said, he was like, "Look, that's the first time we've really seen you. Well, it's the first time I lost a round. It's the first time we've really seen you in a fight, and then the fact that I was able to pull through that against a bigger guy, I think that was a pretty good moment."
Yeah. No, good man. Bit of a random one, but if it wasn't, say MMA didn't exist, what combat sport do you think you'd be doing? Do you think that'd be like wrestling, boxing, or jiu-jitsu, something like that?
I think boxing. My grandfather was pro boxer, so that was my first combat sport. I still train like boxing like today. So yeah, I think if I didn't, then I would do that. Mostly because as well, if I had to do any of the other ones, I'd be crap. Because my wrestling for MMA is not too bad, but my freestyle wrestling is awful.
Is that sorry, go on.
Oh no, so just saying, I definitely have a bit of a hard time with that.
Yeah.
And then say Thai boxing, I've never had a Thai boxing fight, so that wouldn't be the best option in the world. And the rest of them is all just the same. So probably boxing.
Yeah. Is that how you got into MMA then, by starting boxing? Like your granddad being a pro boxer?
Yeah, so I did boxing all in my teenage years. And then there was an MMA gym in Cheltenham. So I went there to the boxing class. And they said, oh, there's a jiu-jitsu class going on. I think it was before or after that. And I was just a bit like, I don't even know what that is, but whatever. And then everybody who does jiu-jitsu for the first time, I just got tapped out about 8 times in a minute.
Yeah.
And I was like, yeah, okay, now I need to know what this is badly. And then, I was down the rabbit hole then.
Yeah. That you transitioned from boxing to MMA?
Yeah, pretty much straight away. I think I had one more boxing fight after that, and then that was me done then.
Yeah. No, that's everyone's first jiu-jitsu sessions and getting tap loads.
Oh, mate. It's interesting as well. I'm naturally quite stocky. So when I went into the class, a lot of the guys are quite thin, and you think, oh, okay, at a minimum, I'm going to be stronger than them. So happy days, I should be all right at this. You're like, oh. That idea went out the window somewhere between 11 and 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Yep, this isn't going well.
I appreciate you coming on, mate, for a chat.
Nah, pleasure, mate. Say thank you
Special.
for having me on.
Yeah. No, I look forward to seeing you again in June or July. I can't remember when the next
Yeah,
trilogy
thank you,
is,
mate.
but I'm sure we'll
June.
see you
It'll
on
either
it.
be June 17th, 18th, or 19th. I'll be there 100%.
Yeah. No, I've enjoyed watching your fights up to this. So I'm sure it'll be good, man.
Thank you, mate.
Cheers. Appreciate you coming
All
on.
right, see you later.